That was eerie because there was just music playing, and as soon as I pressed the record button, it stopped. Well, anyway, hi guys, welcome to another episode of The Letter. This is episode number 6, and we are going to be wrapping up Zachary's chapter today, and I'm very excited to see what's going to happen. So Nana would scold me if she ever hears me walk like that, but after today, I really can't give a damn about everything. I don't really remember what happened. I think I might have clicked something by accident, so I don't know. Maybe this sounds like it's kind of in the middle of something, but anyway. The mattress creaks under my weight as I unceremoniously flop down on it, and I find myself looking at the paper under my grip. As promised, Miss Wright had my bike delivered back to my apartment. Found it parked in the rack downstairs with an invitation and a note tacked to it, in fact. Now, wasn't her name spelled without an H at the end? But it says in the note that it has an H, unless I'm just fucking stupid. Be there, it said. If only it were that easy, but it'll give me a chance to talk to her about that thing in her house. With a sigh, I let my hand fall to the side of the bed along with the invitation. I'll think about it tomorrow when my head ain't muddled with thoughts of a headless woman and the haunting smiles of a ghost. Belatedly, it occurs to me I haven't eaten anything since I left this morning, and an empty, gnawing ache makes itself known, but I can't bring myself to stand up. Today was a complete waste of time, and frankly, disappointment. I don't like this. The lack of certainty, the disquiet, the lack of stable ground to stand on, the part where I do not know what will come tomorrow. Ever since that damn letter, everything has been thrown out of the loop. I wish everything stayed the same. Routine would have been easier to make sense of than this. Closing my eyes, I let the noise from the streets below lull me to sleep. At the very least, that's the one thing that hasn't changed. October 29th, Saturday. It's a little creepy. The melody carries into the hall long before I cross the threshold. I bet it's another dream. Solemn, but gentle and soothing, a reminder of what home is. Pa's firm but meaningful gaze, Ma's wistful smiles, the warm rays filtering through the eaves at sunset, the distinct smell of wet earth and leaves after a long day's rain, in our room. The room. Ma, isn't this exactly what happened at the beginning of the chapter? Ma and Pa's pride and joy, a place we were once promised several springs ago. Yet it won't stop.
No, wait! Come back! I'll be good this time! Please don't leave! Please stay!
The floorboards are cold under my feet more than it usually is, the walls more forbidding than what I'm used to. Farther and farther the room goes. Ma's singing ceases and I can't hear Pa. Not above the rushes clanging and the deafening roar of gunshots, nor the screams replacing the comforting soft melodies. There's only the blinding fear. When the light breaks... Ew, 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 ew. Her skin has already taken a sickly pale color, rotten in most parts, blood dripping from every open gash and lesion on her body. Bony hands grip Hannah's neck like a noose, staining the skin underneath with a vibrant shade of scarlet. Nothing but malice fills the gleam in her eyes. I don't like that. A scream ripples through the air. My whole body feels distant. Every limb heavy with lead, all unable to move at will. Not even so I can wipe the beads of sweat forming at my temple. The rasping of my breath easily fills the room in the wee hours, while I force it back into a steady rhythm. What is that thing? There's a tightness in my chest I can't shake off, my heart pounding against it as if it's about to burst out. Something cold settled in my legs. Not the usual chill that comes and goes with the passing breeze from the window, but one strong enough to sting, shackle, and leave a frigid sensation creeping up my skin. With every struggle I make, the pressure winds firmly around my legs. Tighter, and tighter, and tighter, all until it becomes too much. No! My heart stops. Another draft sweeps into the room, brings with it the iron tang of blood. Thick, suffocating, filling my nose with a foul, sickening smell as I shift my gaze downwards and it slowly comes into view. Oh, I don't want to see it. Mouth stretched in a hideous smile and eyes burning with nothing but madness. Oh god, I don't like that. I do not like that. The stench of gore taints the air around me and I can't look away. From it, her, from the terror and death that her uncanny, twisted features alone scream. Oh god, she's so gross. I try to open my mouth to shout to ask for any help, but my voice has left my body altogether. All I have is the painful realization that no kind of plea will ever save me from her. Then suddenly the bed dips. Oh, am I gonna have to do a tapping thing? brutal plunge back into myself jerks me awake. There's no ear-splitting scream, no wild thrashing of limbs. Just a painful, constricting awareness that something has wound itself tightly around my neck. I waste no second pulling it, a blanket, away, but allow myself a few minutes to steady my breathing before getting off the bed. Inhale, hold, exhale. 1 step, 2 steps, 3. But the dreams have gotten worse. Ever since 2 days ago, no longer are they the small cursory flashes that I'm used to, but vivid ones that linger. I can still feel the blood in my hands, the putrid smell of rotting flesh, the sickening crunch of bones breaking with every movement, and her cold, chilling eyes as they bore into me. I draw in one long, ragged breath. Before I know it, I'm walking out the door. Even in the waking world, it reeks. I'm gonna need a minute. A bench on the park is far from the most private place for thoughts in Luxburn, considering its location at the heart of a bustling city. But in the early hours of the morning, it provides enough peace and quiet for any poor problematic soul who happens to wander here. The city is just waking up, a little later than usual. But knowing what day it is, one can't fault it for being a little tardy just this once. Yet neither the pleasant morning chill nor the soft twittering of birds does anything to banish the images. Every single one has rooted itself in my head, its claws digging deep in what is no longer a safe place to hide.
London Bridge is falling down, falling down.
I don't like that. It used to be easy finding some pretense of peace under the guise of sheer optimism, following regular routine. Now I don't know what to make of it. Sometimes it's easier to run, easier to hide when everything's falling apart. That way you don't have to be the first to witness it when it does. It worked when things went bad with the movie, after all. It also worked when Mom and Pa were taken from us. Though the sentiment's a little hypocritical when you think about my little talk with Miss Wright the other day. But that's just how it is. Maybe it really is better if I just... Ew. A tiny voice gives me a pause. When I look up, a little girl, maybe about 6 or 7, is peering up at me. 2 wide eyes overflowing with what can only be the natural curiosity one typically sees in children. I vaguely note the St. Goretti uniform she's wearing before returning her greeting.
Hey, kid.
Kylie.
Kylie?
That's my name. Mama said it's rude not to call people by their names.
She then flops down on the empty space beside me. Her little legs, still too short to touch the ground, swing in tune with the song she hums under her breath. I don't mind kids. Nana would often invite the ones in our old neighborhood to give them treats. Of course, by then, Sis and I were both too old to play with them, but you get used to the commotion eventually. It's not completely as unpleasant as most people would imply. Kylie seems to be a well-behaved kid anyway.
Oh, sorry. Nice to meet you, Kylie. Is Mama here?
No, but my big brother's with me. He's taking pictures with his camera over there.
She points to the far end of the park, the one closest to the street where a kid is taking shots of something above him. Doesn't look to be birds, because all there is on that side of the park are buildings.
I don't see what's so interesting with the tip of a building, though. I'd take pictures of dogs if I were him. They're cuter.
So true.
Do you have a camera too, mister?
Yeah, I'm actually a photographer.
Mama said I'm too young to get a camera.
I'm sure your mama will eventually give you one. But won't you be late for school like this?
Big brother will get us there on time. Rowan promised Papa. We aren't going to be late. It's sports day. So it's not good if you keep looking like that today. If it ends up raining and we lose, it's your fault.
All right, I'll try not to upset the clouds today, kid.
Is it because you're sick, mister?
Before I know it, a smile is spread over my face. They say kids ask the toughest questions sometimes, and they sure do with how sincere Kylie looks. Lying feels like doing her a huge disservice.
No, not sick. Just having a very, very bad day.
Why is that? Is that like when my big brother ate all of my pudding? He did that once and then cried. It wasn't very nice of him.
Yeah, I think so. You see, there's this mean girl. She's given my friends and I a lot of trouble. Hard to keep up when things are like that, you know? Especially when you can't do anything. It's kind of scary. Makes you wish things will just stay as peaceful as they used to be.
Maybe she just wants to be friends with you?
I highly doubt that. She already hurt one of my friends.
What if she's just sad? Or maybe she just wants help. That's what happened with Melody. I let her borrow my crayon when she left hers. Now we're playmates.
It's not really the same thing, Kylie. What she did, they're pretty bad things.
I still think there's another reason. Did you try talking to her? That's what Mama said I should do.
I don't think that'll work either.
You haven't even tried yet. You sound like Rowan. You're
That strikes a chord. Maybe it's the honesty in her tone, or simply the truth in the words itself. I don't know why, but I can't help it. I laugh. Loud enough to disturb an elderly couple taking a leisure walk nearby.
Why are you laughing?
That's nothing. You're a really smart kid, you know that?
That's what I've been doing, ain't it? Go full speed ahead, then backtrack when the going gets tough. Stay in my safe zone because that's what I know. Once, Dr. Navarro said I should be the first one willing to deal with my problems before anyone else. I didn't show up on our next appointment after that. But he's right. And though I hate to admit it, knowing what I've seen, but the kid makes a good point too. I've been so caught up thinking there might not be a way out. Maybe there isn't, or maybe there is, but that doesn't mean I should just leave it up to fate.
You better get to school, though, or you'll miss sports day. You sure to win yourself some awards, alright?
Alright. Can I show it to you when I do? That can cheer people up, right?
That's so cute. In the distance, her brother calls for her, and I take that as a sign to leave. Got things to do, to face. The first few steps, they say.
Nah, I'm good now, I think. Thanks to you. Besides, Mister needs to go. But you should show it to Mama and Papa. I'm sure they'll be proud of you, Kylie.
I will. Thanks, mister. Bye.
So cute. I give her a little pat on the head before heading my way. A small gesture of thanks from a stranger she didn't know she might have helped. She may not understand it now, even though at such a young age she already has this understanding of things, but maybe when she's older. When the world no longer seems too big for her.
But aren't you going to help me, mister?
That was creepy.
With what?
Confused, I glance back. I don't want to know. I don't like that. Whatever cheer our little talk brought has vanished under the shadow suddenly dancing in my eyes. This frigid air is most definitely not how the morning chill should feel like. Bitter, stinging, unwelcoming. The kid.
What do you think, mister? Are you going to help me?
Leave us alone! What did we do to you?
The response never comes, however, because when I blink, gone.
Hello? Mister? Are you okay?
For several passing seconds, I let my stare linger on her face, waiting for any sign of another change. But all that remains in there is the carefree smile of a child. None of the spite, none of the cold, bloody smile.
Nothing, huh? I really need to go, Kylie. It was nice meeting you.
See you again, mister!
I didn't like it. I break into a run. I don't look back, not even as I bump into a couple of passersby as soon as I'm out on the busy streets. Going insane, this is what it is. And if we don't do something soon, we all will be. The tremors follow me even as I get home. I had hoped a little stroll around the block for a few hours would help. Instead, I'm assaulted with more images of her. Her smile, the loathing in her eyes, the stench of gore, the horrid crunch that comes with every movement she makes. Even old memories have been sullied by her, and Ma's song no longer sounds as sweet as it meant to be. In the end, all I got is a sinking feeling I will never be rid of her image, and another ridiculous idea that may or may not even work. The sun is already hanging low on the horizon when I make it back. For the first time, coming home feels more like a chore. Only, I didn't arrive to an empty room, because as soon as I open the door, I'm greeted by nothing other than probably Ash.
Sup, Z-Man?
I told you we should have called him before going here.
It's fine.
Ooh, Isabella's here. It is Ashton I see first, sitting comfortably on my couch, munching on a bag of chips with both feet propped on top of the coffee table. Whatever proverbial stone has made a home at the pit of my stomach automatically flies right out the window at the sight of him. Before any exasperation can set in, my attention is taken by the other occupant in the room. Isabella perches on the only other chair in the room, attempting to make herself smaller, it seems, from how closely she's hugging her arms against her. Nevertheless, she gives me a small smile when she notices my stare. Yet, somehow there ain't any warmth in it like it's supposed to have.
Hey, Zach. Sorry we just barged in here. Ash was...
Relax. Z-Man gave me a copy of the key himself.
Only after you broke the 13th one? I can't keep replacing them every time you think it'd be a good idea to break into my apartment. And stop calling me Z-Man!
I didn't break anything this time.
Ash, just because I gave you a key doesn't mean you can just stroll in here whenever you want to. And, hey, is that my...
Ash smirks at me because, of course, he has the gall to smirk knowing what he did. He pops in what's very likely the last piece of chip into his mouth and folds the wrapper neatly on the table before throwing it in the nearby trash. From her chair, Isabella shoots me an apologetic smile as soon as the foil hits the waste bin with a dull thunk. Common sense dictates that I should be angry. But after everything, having something normal play out in front of me, no matter how childish their antics can get, I can't bring myself to muster even a tidbit of it. Behind me, the television starts blaring the music for the end credits of a movie. They've likely been waiting for a while if Ash has gotten impatient enough to rummage through my cupboards and watch something.
Of course he eats all of it. You know, I was saving that for the weekend. Did you at least share some with Bella?
Don't worry about it. I'm good, Zach.
Really? It's free food, you know? What was that you usually say? You don't say no to free food? What happened?
No, I'm just not hungry.
Ash only shrugs at the question in my eyes. I can't be the only one who finds this vibe she's giving off to be odd, and the guy has no doubt already caught wind of it.
Aye. But if you want something, just say so. I've got a fully restocked pantry right here at your disposal. Still not a 5-star level thing, but for an empty stomach, it'd do. Just say the word.
Thanks, Zach. Maybe next time. Food is not really what we came here for. Ash, he's the one who...
She casts a brief glance at Ash, and in an instant he sits up. Every trace of amusement is gone from his face as he clasps his hand in front of him and leans forward. A minuscule gesture meant to ease, yet the grim expression on him tells a different story altogether.
All right, you two, what's this about? I don't like those looks.
I don't like those looks. A short but tense pause follows. They're both stalling. Under normal circumstances, I'd wait. With these two, the more you force it, the more they're clamped down on it. But as a handful of seconds continue to slip by, the unsettling feeling in me also grows with it. Soon it turns into impatience. Before I can demand a response, though, one of them finally speaks up. It is Isabella who breaks it first.
We just thought we should check on you. After what happened to Rose,
Please don't tell me something happened again.
No, nothing. None so far. And we're keeping it that way as much as possible.
Ooh, I don't like that.
Ash, it's not that easy. This isn't some...
We don't know that. Let me...
The bitter frustration in his tone is impossible to miss, but he catches it as soon as Isabella draws back. He allows himself a moment to breathe before dropping it for one less harsh, more tempered, gentler.
Let me look at this first, okay? I agreed to help, but you've got to let me handle things from now on.
I already told you everything.
There must be something we're not seeing in this just yet. We'll sort this out, but no more silly ideas and running around on your own. You're making people worry more than necessary. Becca, especially.
So
We
everything's
haven't seen
fine.
Becca in a while. I miss her.
Depends on who you're asking. How are things with you? Anything odd?
Good, I guess. Admittedly, how things went down at the housewarming party last night threw me off a bit.
So this takes place after the housewarming party where Hana was like flipping
I'm
out.
not asking about that. Remember the letter thing Isabella's been yapping on about? I'm asking about that kind of odd.
I look at him. Gaped, more like. His serious expression doesn't waver despite the perplexed look I shoot him. There's a brief second I let pass as I wait for the heavens to fall somewhere. It doesn't come. The sky is still bathed in vibrant reddish hues as it waits for the night to arrive. Luxburn is still the same busy city, and everything in my room still appears as it did a second ago, including the unnerving ticking of my walnut clock. But if Ashton, calm, cool, collected, always logical Ashton, takes interest in this, something or someone must have fucked shit up somewhere.
Well, the dreams, they're a lot worse than usual. There's a woman now, ever since we saw that letter. I don't know if it's the same one Isabella talked about. Maybe it is, maybe it ain't. I really don't want to go back to sleep sometimes. Last night was the worst. Anyway, why are you asking about this?
Rose's death isn't just a coincidence, Zach. It may have something to do with... I may have...
Wait, stop right there for a sec, Bella. I thought you ain't buying this stuff, Ash. Just the other day, you said the exact same thing.
I still don't, but even Rebecca, out of all people, claims there's something. Whatever this is, someone has got to look into it. Everything about this screams shady.
Are you sure you even have the time? Ain't you busy with your current case?
I got taken off that one.
You didn't say you were taken off your case.
I just got the news this morning. Apparently the higher-ups think I'm doing a horrendous job at it. It doesn't matter, though. If these two cases are connected like I initially thought, then regardless, I'm on the right track.
Are you sure we should even be doing this?
Doing what exactly?
There's someplace we'll visit after this.
Too vague for comfort, Ash. And please don't tell me you're bringing her with you.
His affirmation comes in the form of a stare, but that alone says all I need to know. What What I pointed out gives him a pause, though, and his voice is thick with hesitation when he addresses Isabella.
You know what? Zach's right, Isabella. You don't have to come with me.
It's not myself I'm worried about. It's you. I'll just do this myself, if it'll get you into more trouble with your superiors. At least I can make up an excuse why I need to be there.
Don't be ridiculous. You're not walking in there without me. Besides, I think it's a little too late to back out now. Have you two seen the news this morning?
I haven't, actually. Mama called, and I was busy.
The change in the air around her, while small, could not have gone unnoticed. It takes every willpower not to ask. Oh, I bet her dad's doing worse. Probably the only thing reigning in my curiosity is the fact that Ash himself hasn't brought it up either.
No problem. It should be in the afternoon news as well.
Another victim. Man burned after room catches fire. The exact same thing. He grabs the remote and cycles through numerous channels until he gets to a news report about another guy who's been found dead in the early hours of the morning today. Burned alive this time. Oddly, no fire is spread, and whatever damage has been contained within the place the body was found. The room itself, however, has been completely vandalized. Help me. Help me. Another murder, the authorities claimed. Isabella and I knew better. None of us shifts, even after the report ends, but the room has suddenly felt stifling. Ashton's eyes have gone hooded with what appears to be restrained anger. The remote in his hand creaks mildly under his grip. The stone is back in my stomach. A tiny little thing groping at my insides, growing with every passing second as the dread sinks in. In the thick of it, Isabella's voice is the one that breaks the hush. A small, weak thing on its own that wavers unevenly between words, but every syllable heavy with meaning.
This is because of that thing, isn't it? I did this somehow.
When it fades, all that's left in the air is her doubt and fear, while all we can do is cope. Is there something I can say to make her feel better? I should say, we can still fix
We
this.
can still fix this. There's before if you count Rebecca.
No, she's staying away from this.
She lifts her gaze at me, eyes steady and shoulders squared, as she holds it against the baffled look I give her. Although in the next second, it immediately softens, and it takes me by surprise nevertheless. In those brief moments, it's like I faced a different person.
I don't want to involve her in this any more than I already have. Both of you as well.
I already said it. That's completely out of the question. Stop asking.
Still in all, that's 2 extra heads who can do the thinking. Between us 3, I'm sure we'll figure something out pretty soon.
Don't make this whole thing sound like it's a piece of cake to deal with.
It ain't. But better than sitting around, yeah? Plan is still a plan.
You're going to shoot yourself in the foot one day with that kind of thinking. We don't even know who's doing this.
And who's that guy?
The last 2 murders might just be similar incidents done by 2 different suspects.
Hasn't stopped you from going after them before. Remember that time when you...
Okay, stop right there. There will be no retelling of that incident today, Z-Man. Or ever.
Keep calling me Z-Man and maybe I will.
Suddenly, Isabella laughs. Though muffled by her hands, her ring is light and easy against the thick tension in the room. Still a far cry from the usual cheer she carries, but brings a welcome shift in the otherwise dreary mood.
Thanks, you two.
I'll tell you about it when he's not around.
Give it up, Z-Man. She's not interested.
Who says I'm not?
Ash makes a face, but chuckles at the jest despite himself.
Why am I even friends with you two?
Because we're beautiful and sexy. And like this, most of our worries ebb away, if only for a few moments. They take their leave mere minutes close to sundown, but regardless of the lighter mood, little has been said of their plans, only vague hints of what they're aiming to do after. While it ain't none any of my business to know, something about this whole thing still gnaws at me. A tiny passing thought urges me to do something as well. At this hour, the streets are once again busy with people heading home after a hard day's work. Little of the bustle matters to them as they step out of the crowded walkway, however. Ash, especially. There's only his goal in his mind, and I'd wager there's nothing I can do to stop him at this point. He's probably decided on it long before they made the decision to drop by. But despite this, Isabella lags behind. Worried creases back on her forehead as she watches Ash leave to get his car.
Something wrong, Bella?
No, actually, can you check on Becca for me after this? I really didn't get the chance to tell her where I'm headed off to. Tell her I'm okay, and No, just that. That's all.
You sure I should skip on that part? If she finds out about this, she'll be angry. I don't really want to deal with angry Rebecca. It gives me a stomachache just thinking about it.
Neither do I, but I'll handle it if she gets mad. Just make sure she's safe and tell her to be careful. You too. Take care of yourself.
It sounds like she's saying goodbye, like, for real. Almost abruptly, she pauses, the gaze in her eyes hardening as she lapses into another one of those long-distance silences from earlier. This ain't just because of the whole fiasco with the letter anymore.
I don't want what happened to Rose to happen to you guys as well.
This one cut deeper. Before I can ask about it, Ashton returns, casually swinging his car keys on one hand and gestures at Bella.
Come on, we don't have much time. Shirley's waiting.
Sure.
Who's sure? Oh, right. Don't answer that. I don't want to hear it, you huge dork.
Says the person who gave her stuffed toys names. Batcat? Really?
It's cute. Yours is just weird.
So is it a cat or a bat?
I'll see you later, Zach.
She spares me another smile, and as I watch her walk off, only now did it occur to me that none of those she gave today ever did reach her eyes. I make a grab for the back of Ash's parka. He staggers briefly before correcting himself and shooting me a confused stare.
Is she alright?
What? Who's okay?
Isabella. She's been, I don't know, out of it today? Did something happen earlier?
The scowl on his face says it all.
She's actually been like that this morning. I'll ask, but...
Just do me a favor and watch over her. We have no idea what we're dealing with. I don't know what happened to her since the last time I saw her, but from how she's been doing today, whatever it is, seems like a pretty big deal. Wait, you didn't annoy her again, did you? Because I swear to God, if you did, you've got another thing coming for you.
What? No. Why would I?
I'm just asking. I'll take your word for it. But if you can find out what's bothering her, that'd be nice. Honestly, I don't think it's the letter this time.
I'll see what I can do.
Make sure you keep yourself out of harm's way, alright?
Yeah, you too. Don't do anything reckless again.
Reckless, no. But I can't make you to promise I won't do anything. After seeing that, there's no way in hell I'm going to pretend there ain't a problem when there is. This is a really big one. And I'll be damned if I let anything happen to you guys while I sit here. I'm done running when things get tough.
He's about to argue for a moment, but...
Look, bro, if things ain't good, I'll be the first one out. But allow me this one thing, alright? Just this one time. If it doesn't work out, you'll be the first one to know. You can laugh then, or berate me all you want, but please don't ask me to step aside like I'm incapable of doing anything to help.
I have no idea if it is the look on my face or the tone of my voice. Ultimately, though, although his mouth presses into a thin line, he nods.
All right. Stay safe, Zach.
When he stumbles into the sidewalk and allows the afternoon crowd to swallow him whole, I like to think the tiny gleam in his eyes is the closest we can get to optimism in this situation. Whether that alone will be enough to give me a peaceful sleep tonight remains to be said. October 30th, Sunday. Night falls, and despite my best attempts, sleep continues to elude me. With her image still stuck in my head, flashing every few moments, it catches me off guard, with Ma's lullaby still echoing in my ears, no longer the soft tune it once was. The terrible gnawing at the pit of my stomach, it's no wonder I can't bring myself to drift off even for a little while. It's not as if there's a complete lack of things to do while waiting for sleep to come, if it ever will. And at 2:45 in the morning, I found myself cleaning my photography equipment for no other reason than just to pass time. Though, if I'm going to be honest, it's not the night terrors that are keeping me wide awake tonight, but the anxiety and the hope that I'll ever hear from Ash or Isabella soon. And for what's perhaps the 42nd time, my eyes shift over to the end of the table where my phone lies still. I've not heard from them since they left. They haven't promised to call, of course, but a small part of me wishes they would have the common sense at the very least. Waiting is a tough game, and with the concern stretching out the minutes far longer than usual, it's impossible for more unpleasant thoughts not to enter my mind. Moreover, it does not help that when the clock finally strikes 3. Nope, 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 nope. My hand stills. It'll be a complete and utter lie to say my heart didn't leap straight to my throat in that brief second. My whole body has gone motionless, ears straining for any further sounds. A couple of 10 seconds pass. Nothing. Of course, with how old the building I'm staying is, power fluctuations ain't nothing new. Every now and then this would happen, leaving a few tenants in a rather bad mood. Nothing unusual anymore after a few years of living here. But this time, the sudden hush brings with it a stillness that raised the hair at the back of my neck, set my heart beating hard against my chest. Something reeks in the air, and in an instant this place is no longer home. It's a prison. Every rational fiber of my being screams at me to leave. I force myself to swallow and keep a clear head as I lay down all my cleaning tools, begin gathering together the rest of my things scattered about on the table. The camera's body, lenses, filters, diffuser, phone, anything my hand could reach, but in the resulting panic, like in the nightmares, it is the scent that reaches me first. A foul, putrid smell filling my lungs with a heavy stink of death. My fingers clamp tightly to the camera, holding it close to my body as if the tiny thing would provide enough protection against whatever it is within me in the room. It won't, but it's the only comfort I have.
Hello? I know you're in here.
Like, I just feel really anxious because I feel like at any second it's going to make me start doing one of those tapping games, and I hate those. I'm so bad at them. Something moves behind me, a soft scuttling over the walls, followed by a squelch and painful creaking of what can only be rotten flesh and broken bones. Without hesitation, I whirl around, my fingers and camera ready, patiently waiting for another movement.
Leave! Leave now!
I bet it's gonna make me try and take a picture of her.
There's nothing here for you!
There's a brief moment of silence after, and for a short while I think my pleas worked. Then, with no warning, the shuffling resumes, and along with it are the sobs of a woman. I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this. I hate this. I hate this so much. The light flashes fleetingly, and one last time allowing me a glimpse of her grotesque, misshapen features before it is once again lost in the darkness. All of a sudden, her tune changes, no longer a soft cry, but a high-pitched shriek brimming with pain, grief, and anger. Every ounce of courage I've mustered flees from my body at the sound. The next thing I know, my hand is gripping the knob, and I'm wrenching the door open. Her wails follow me as I flee into the night. Pacing has always been more of Ashton's thing than mine. When I want to think, I sit and let the minutes tick by until an idea comes to my mind, or my pulse settles down. And yet dried leaves and twigs crack under my shoes as I make another pass at them. Terror is too mild to describe what this is. There's no way in hell I'm going back. Whatever she is, pleading won't work. The moment we saw that letter, she's been after us.
But I can't run. Not this time.
Nearly 2 hours have gone by since I left the comfort of my room for the solitude of the park. Are you still trying to call Ash? 2 excruciating hours since I've started making calls. No one's answering. Not even Rebecca, who has always kept her phone line open in case other people need her. Or Isabella, who frequently checks hers for any messages, and readily responds as soon as she can afford. It does not help that Ash hasn't said a word where he went off to as well.
Damn it! I knew I should have asked him before I let him leave.
Knowing him, he can be anywhere, but there's really only one place he'll likely be at this time. The sun has already peaked over the horizon when I make it to the mansion. I have no idea what I'm expecting to see when I get here. There's Ashton, first and foremost. Part of me wishes my assumptions are correct, and he's really somewhere close by on a stakeout. But I've never been the lucky sort when it comes to that kind of guessing, and even after I've made a round of the immediate vicinity, I could find neither hide nor hair of him. Calling him does no good either, considering how awful the signal here is. He can't be too far if he's really here, but if he is, he would have already noticed me by now. Instead, there's only silence, the kind too quiet to find any sort of comfort in. Even the trees seem to have fallen asleep with the rest of the mansion, oblivious to what's happening around it, small island of stillness in the otherwise fast-paced world. No wonder the whole of Anselm feels at odds with the rest of Luxburn. While the city is alive, growing every minute, breathing every second, and pulsating with life, the village remains unmoving, unchanged. It's not surprising the legend still lives up to this day, and why she's still here, walking its hallowed halls. And beyond me, the mansion looms ominously. But now ain't the time for fear. Even if Ash is not here, I've still got to let the Wrights know what I've seen, what's in their home, and whatever grievance Ash has with them, it doesn't matter. There might be grounds for imprisonment, but they don't deserve a brutal death at the hands of one malicious spirit. And I'm sure Isabella would want the same thing. I head straight for their door without a second thought. It takes a few rings, the sound too loud above the foreboding stillness, before I hear footsteps on the other side.
Only a Nancy would knock at such an ungodly hour. Where's that damn butler when I need him?
Before long, the door swings widely open with Mr. Luke Wright standing behind it. Seething would be a complete understatement to describe him. Like this, I've got no doubt why Ash would find him a suspect.
You again? It's bloody 6 in the morning. What the hell is it now?
Listen, sir, I know this is not a good time.
Oh, it's not a good time. Did you even check the clock before coming here? I bet you didn't. Unlike you, the ones living in this house need to sleep. Come back when people are actually awake, or I'll call security on you.
You're awake. Before I can get a word in, he slams the door to my face and bolts it shut with much finality.
You gotta hear me out. You're both in danger if you stay in there. Have you seen the news lately? Everything's not a coincidence.
Only silence answers me. Maybe if it was Miss Wright. Who am I kidding? I've already seen the look on her face when I tried before. There are limits to how far a person will believe in you. Then again, I didn't believe Isabella when she warned us. And now I'm here, desperately trying to save people, even if I'm aware it's completely out of my own capacity to do so. Is this what they call karma? If so, this is one horrible way of turning things around. Taking people's lives, playing with people's fears, making them feel useless.
You're around, ain't you? You here? Inside this house? Listening, watching, or whatever it is that you spirits do? What do you want? You're already dead. Leave us!
Nothing. I don't even know who I'm talking to, or if a sane person is supposed to be doing that. The only thing I got after is a feeling of foolishness washing over me. Perhaps this is just me losing my mind. Out of other options and any other ideas, I let my hand slide off the door surface and fall listlessly to my sides. I can go back to Luxburn, try to find the others, try to get out of this mess with them, or let them know how much in deep shit we all are. Both sound good. Either way, my loitering here ain't helping at all. I let the quietness calm me for a few more minutes before standing up and heading out to fetch my bike. It's quite a distance to Luxburn, but if I hurry, I'll reach it in maybe... Rustling stops as soon as I turn around and strain my ears for any other movement around me.
Yo, Ash, you there?
No answer. If he is here, and I've just missed him earlier, already my feet are moving in search of him for the second time. It won't hurt to double-check. Triple-check, even. With how big the property is, he can be anywhere. You can't just be, traipsing around someone's property, though. If things aren't so urgent, if they ain't so dire that lives are at stake, I'd probably have just waited for him to show up again.
But damn it! He needs to realize what exactly it is he's dealing with.
That it is not just a petty criminal he can simply throw in jail. It is something beyond the authority his police badge could ever give him. The guy needs to stop playing the big damn hero, sit down, and chill. My breathing comes in short, shallow rasps by the time I make it back to where I started. Still no sign of him, and I begin to think I'm just wasting my time here. But that is when I hear it. I recognize the melody in a heartbeat. Mom's favorite song. I listen for a while, trying to gauge where exactly from the house it's coming from. My feet start moving before I can stop them. And there, as I circle a corner from a room in the first floor, a single window is open, but I can't make out whoever's inside. However, I'm sure the singing comes from there. Still, why I'll hear an old tune here of all places, I won't know. It's not an obscure song by all means, but it's pretty rare to find someone who knows this. For some reason, death seems to follow this song around. Panic lodges itself at the base of my throat at once. Whoever's humming might be... I don't want to be the pessimist now, but on the off chance that it is Miss Wright.
Shit.
I shan't just barge in there. I can put myself in danger before I can save anyone. Ash will tell me so in the exact same words. Might even write me a dissertation why that is a bad idea if he ain't so lazy. But damn it, god damn it. Someone could be in danger. I'm going to enter the open window. I can search for Ash, but what if it's too late by then? With how big this place is, he can be anywhere, and it's very likely by the time we come back, someone's already bit the dust. That and the cries grow louder against my ear the longer I linger. Almost impossible to ignore, drawing me in like a moth to a flame. For a moment, I let myself shudder, shaking the uneasy feeling off my head. This can't be a good idea, not by a long shot. Still, I got to try. Funnily enough, for a couple as high-profile as the Wrights, they don't seem to have any security detail patrolling around. A few guards here and there, sure, but one will expect they'll have more considering the size of the place. It works to my advantage, though, and I really can't complain when there's a high chance I might get arrested for what I'm about to do. Luckily, the window's wide enough for me to fit through without making any noise. There's certainly no going back now. But as soon as I step into the parlor, all but ceases, while I find no trace of the woman I heard crying like I'm expecting to. The room is still empty at this time of the morning, and I'm left standing awkwardly in the middle of the hush. Maybe she just hid somewhere?
Hello? Are you here? I heard someone earlier, and I'm here to help.
Hoping for an answer, I let that question hang in the air. But several seconds merely go by without a word, or the slightest movement to indicate there is someone in here. Has been here. With the stories I've heard, the things I've seen, it takes effort to keep my brain from going into that line of thought.
I'm not going to hurt you. If you're here, say something.
Nothing. Am I just hearing things? No, I'm pretty sure I heard someone. But with no one responding, I can't help but feel silly like this. The awareness that I've just trespassed a house for nothing because of some voice prickles at me. Suddenly, the silence feels uncomfortable. Needling anxiety slowly creeps up my back. I should get out while I can. If it ain't there, it ain't there. I don't spare the room another glance while I walk back the way I came. Out into the window, leave before someone else notices.
I thought I heard a servant moving around here. Turns out it's just a rat scurrying about.
Fuck off.
How unpleasant.
My heart shoots up into my throat. I can run. The window is a few steps away. I should be able to escape. But instead, out of some foolish impulse, I turn around. Perhaps it's because the only impression the guys left me in what few times we met is nothing but unsettling.
This ain't what you think it is.
You're quite the distance from the kitchen, I'm afraid. Perhaps I should lead you there.
Someone's in here before me. I wasn't here for what you're thinking. There was sobbing and...
The first blow knocks the wind out of me, sending me heaving and crumpling to my knees. Tears well up in my eyes as the pain swells when he twists my wrist behind my back.
You gotta listen to me.
Then again, dirty thieves aren't welcome in my kitchen either.
But you know me! For a moment there was only silence and a sudden piercing ache, this time at the back of my head. The room abruptly tilts on its axis, dimming. I'm pretty sure this is illegal, like even if you're trespassing. On the verge of unconsciousness, I can only hear the scuffling of feet, the thud of the door being closed, and a woman, crying, asking for help. I know no more. October 31st, Monday. Oh, it's Halloween! The pain is the worst when I come to. A sharp, piercing ache somewhere at the back of my head, begging to be noticed. But it's nothing I can't handle. Leerily, I open my eyes, expecting to be greeted by sunlight. Ooh, that's creepy. Oh, okay, we're in the police department. However, the walls that welcome me are unfamiliar. When everything comes into focus, I recognize the place for what it is. A cell. Dark, cramped, with the only light coming from the moon outside, streaming through the sole window barred by thick metal bars. Memory rushes back to me in sharp bursts. The mansion looking for Ashton, a familiar tune, and a woman crying. While my head still aches from the hit I've received.
Still better than a morgue, I guess.
That's fair. Gingerly, I pull myself up, stretching the cramps from my shoulders as I do so, but stopping when a sudden movement induces an acute stinging pain right through my arm.
Damn, they got me good. What time is it?
As expected, they've taken everything I have in my person. Wallet, cell phone, my keys, meds, even a small pack of gum. Protocol is protocol. In the first place, ending back in another cell ain't in my agenda. Another cell? The first time was not a pleasant experience, and this certainly won't be either. Considering who has likely put me in here, it could be much worse. The bars are cold to my touch when I approach, looking for the person on duty. They usually allow us to contact someone. Ashton, at least, has to know I'm here. He'll be pissed, that I'm quite sure of, but he's the only one who can help prove my innocence and get me out. However much I don't want to rely on him for this. The hallway in front of the cell is empty, but voices float through from further in, likely the poor officers assigned to late-night duty. Judging from the snippets of conversation I catch, today's topic over a snack is that moron who thought it's wise to cross the rights. They used other names too, most of which I'll like to have words with them about in the future. Really, I'm in no position right now.
Excuse me. Anyone?
Silence.
Excuse me. I need to make a...
Oh, no. Nope. Blood freezes in my veins and my grip on the bar tightens as the revolting scent reaches my nose. More than the gore, the foul smell of death hangs heavily in the air. And against my better judgment, I turn. Her face is the first thing I see. A gruesome sight on its own, eyes gleaming with nothing but malevolence, blood oozing from the large punctured wound on her head, mouth open wide and a voiceless scream. I clamp on the compulsion to retch. On instinct, I step back, putting as much distance as this cramped cell will allow between us. The bars rattle as soon as my shoulders hit it. A hindrance, not to freedom, but to safety.
Get away from me!
She moves, in short, sudden, bone-crunching twitches, and I know there's no escape. I'm screaming for help before I know it, jolting the bars with as much force as I can.
Somebody, get me out of here! Anyone, please! Some people are trying to get some sleep here. No! She's here! You've got to let me out! She's gonna kill me! Someone! She's...
I don't like that. You've unlocked a memory fragment. So from looking at it, I mean, the woman in the background pretty clearly looks like the woman that we've seen in some of the paintings in the background of the mansion. And she looks kind of evil and gross. And the way the people in the foreground are positioned, it looks like there's a sexy thing going on, but this girl's really not into it, so that's a thing, I guess. Okay, cool. Well, that's the end of Zach's chapter. So the next time I pick up, we will be with Marianne. So that's going to be pretty cool. She's a fun character that we haven't seen too much of, so I'm excited to get to see a little more with her. So this was... this episode was a lot. It's really late at night, and it's raining outside, and I'm very scared. But, ooh, that was a lot. Okay, well, thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful day.